really didn't work. Found out that hardwood's a lot harder than we anticipated, and it's obviously a lot of water's coming out now, and the pipe's really bent. So, lesson learned. Yeah, so that's just cracked through there. Then that will tell us one of two things. It means this is either not working correctly, or my timber is too hard, too much of a hardwood, and I need to find some placement or something like that. Which I don't have. I hope I don't have to, because that's going to be painful. And means I could be waiting for a very long time till I get that. After many fails, two factors, we're going to be siliconing this up and putting the timber in here. Because, as you can see last time, we had cracks and it just pretty much splitting and not working to the extent that I wanted it to. So instead of damaging more timber, we're going to soak it. I've got some more end caps and I'm going to seal this tube up, then let the timber soak in for a day, and then we're going to try again, hopefully tomorrow. Something that I was not going to be able to do my project at school anymore, I decided to bring it all home. So, after then also realising that my process of steaming wasn't working, I've now soaked that, a piece of pine and a piece of my smoke ash in water for 3 hours. Yep, 3 hours now. And then I've had this going, so this should be ready. So I'm going to pull that out of there and stick it in here. And hopefully it's going to be all good. And we're going to stick this in for an hour and then we'll bend it and see how it goes. We'll try the pine first and see what happens. Hopefully it works out. You can already see it is cracking, and this was lifting up, and this was lifting up, so that had to be altered. And then same problems as before with it twisting, and then this side you can see is lifted up. So after yesterday's debacle of it not steaming and wanting to bend properly, we're going to try a different way where we're not going to do the steaming, we're just going to do the bending. So it's been soaking for about 24 hours and we're going to put it in and give it a random crack. And so, this is the turning point of realising bending timber, this particular timber, is not going to work. So, I'm going to have to cut it out and try something different. Cut little slits in it and fold it around especially the way that's been soaked through, and yeah, you can't do anything about that. I mean, this one was already cracked, so it had a fracture in it, but now it's even worse, and you can't. This ain't gonna work. That's pretty much what I'm trying to say. So, after about a week of doing some research and trying to find a better solution, we're going to do kerfing. So that's the process where we where we cut wedges in the timber, and then we can bend it like this. And so that process will hopefully allow us to bend the timber without it cracking or breaking or snapping, more or less. And we're gonna just test it on these pieces, and the fact that I've done some calculations and it's gonna be a little bit longer now, well, luckily I've left plenty of length, so I've got about 150 mil on either end of extra length that I can work with and help it bend, and if I need to cut it, and then at the end I'll just cut it off to whatever length it is to keep it at the meter length. 16-ish lines later, we've got this, and so we're going to cut through till about 1 mil on the other side and then see how we go. Alright, so after doing a first kerfing bend, we can see, or I can see, that it works, and it was like this, and then I tried to push it to go further, which we don't want it like this, we want it more just here. And so then I cleaned it up on this side with the pull saw, just to get it. So we can go to here, but we don't need to. And so if I get something, either using the table saw or set something up here on the compound saw, then I can get these a lot nicer and don't look like this big chunky one, and have these really thin ones, and then I can go like that. And so that's what we're aiming for. We don't need that, we're going to aim for that, and then we also see if we can cut an angle, because then it means it'll be a lot nicer. When we bend it like this, we won't see all those gaps. So we'll just have to try. That turned out quite well. Just now, I have to get the fact that we've got a massive gap. We have to fill it. Yeah, I think that's also a better angle compared to that. Significant steepage. It's like you stop there. Yeah, that's definitely it. Now I'm just going to test it with the smoked ash and see if it all stays the same. If it does, well then happy days. It works, but you got cracking on the other side. So, probably need to double the amount of saw cuts and possibly steam it. After I cut the grooves on this practice piece and then decided to glue it on. Then started to realise it wasn't quite, after sanding it a few times, and then it decided to snap. I looked inside of it, and I realised that the glue hadn't reached and penetrated enough within the timber, as you can see, that it didn't make it all the way down to here, and was only stuck at the top here, which it obviously is cracked on both sides, so that means we need to change something. So, we did another practice piece with just one cut, and I did another practice piece with just one cut, and yeah, I just filled it all the way to the brim with a bunch of sawdust, and you can see here now that it's much better because I snapped this just as we took the glue as it was setting, and so it would have been like that. So I've just sanded all of these, and so we're gonna make a little jig up like this one now. Like use the big piece and put it on both ends, and put pieces in the side so it all gets set to the same height. So what I need to do is trim the form board to 20mm less than these. So trim these first so that they're all the same length. Then trim the form board. Touch the sides, which they're going to go on to. Cut these. Then get my piece to set the depth, which they're all going to set at. And then, yeah, it should be ready to glue. Got sawdust there, got sawdust in the vacuum cleaner as well. Gonna clean that saw up, attach that back to it, the dust extractor. Should be good. Plan is to glue all these up and then start marking out my side pieces. I did have an accident yesterday where this detached from the slab, so I glued up last night. And then as well I had to cut it a bit differently because it wasn't perfect to how I wanted it. And so last night did that, filled it, looks pretty great now. I'm just gonna leave it as is. And then now the game plan is I'll glue it up, stick it on the top, have a little spacer at the bottom, either timber or these spacers. And so you still get that 2mm difference of the saw blade width at the bottom. But yeah, I'll grab all the sawdust from my vacuum cleaners, and yeah, and start mixing up a lot of glue and timber. So, see how it goes. So plan is now, since we know this kind of works, this 20mm bit, is we're going to start it with this, then use the drill press to then also clear it out, and then we'll finish it with bags to get the nice clean all the way through. So it's a long process, but it'll give us the cleanest result possible. So I've done the first test case for the tenon, for the mortise and tenon joint. Took a while, but I got there in the end and it goes in nicely. For this one, it's not fully square, but still works. I'm gonna then now just replicate this on every other tenon joint, mortise joint. Because I'll just use this and then I can put it on the saw and copy it to all the other ones, and then happy days. So just copy this to clean out the rest of the mortises. It'll be pretty smooth sailing.